Hi, it's Eric and welcome to our video conversation this week. This week I had an opportunity to meet both Mark and Kate, who were in town from Eden Prairie. And they were here to honor Kate's father, who was a member of the very first Special Service Force that was a part of our World War II fighting veterans. They received the Congressional Gold Medal this week. Great to be with them, and it was fun to have them be a part of that ceremony, welcoming families and friends that were part of that effort with our veterans. We got some great questions this week, so we're going to dive right into them. And the first actually comes from Scott in Brooklyn Park. He wrote in, "Dear Representative Paulsen, I'm writing to urge you to co-sponsor the Steve Gleason Act, which is legislation to be introduced in the House by Representative Kathy McMorris Rogers that would help preserve Medicare coverage for speech-generating devices. These devices are critical to the lives of people living with ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease, and those who have lost their ability to speak." Well, first of all, Scott, thanks for sharing those comments. You'll be happy to know that I have authored legislation addressing this issue, but let's just recap what the issue is. It was just this last year, or late last year, where a government agency actually proposed not allowing medical coverage for special speech-generating devices for those that may have ALS and other neurological or degenerative diseases. We have now pushed back, introducing legislation, a bipartisan group of us, making sure that the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services make sure that those services will be covered, because these devices are very important for folks that have those diseases. And the bill is named after Steve Gleason, who was a former NFL player who has done wonders now within the ALS community, helping championing the effort and showing how important these speech-generating devices are for those families that have that are confronted with that affliction. I also received an email from Julie in Corcoran, and Julie wrote in saying, "Congressman Paulsen, the government should not be allowed to read my emails without a warrant. But thanks to an outdated law, government bureaucrats can look at my old emails with little accountability. This must stop. Please help to address this problem and make sure the government is held accountable. Thanks, Julie." Julie, actually, it's interesting listening to your comments, and a lot of folks don't know it, but in 1986, a law was written that actually regulates communications like email, and there was a loophole that was put into the law that doesn't really cover email, and ensuring that you have to have, that the law enforcement authorities would have to have a warrant if they wanted to look back at your old email, for instance. And now, 1986 was a long time ago. We have now introduced legislation. It's the Email Privacy Act. A big group of bipartisan members are going to close that loophole, making sure that the government does not have the authority to look at any of your old emails simply because they happen to be 6 months old. It will require a warrant, which is totally appropriate and proper. I want to thank you for joining for our conversation this week. If you have any thoughts, questions, ideas, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, or of course on my website at paulsen.house.gov. Have a great rest of the weekend and week.